Hello everyone, welcome to Banda Casciavit International. Today, as always, Andrea and Alex joined us, but we have our guest Igor. Igor lives nearby me and he's a very, very good guy and very expert when it comes to AC Milan. Hi Igor.
Well, hi, hello, Rocco. Thank you for that introduction. I wouldn't call myself a good guy.
Okay, an AC Milan guy is a good guy for us at least,
There
right?
you go. There.
Andrea, I see you and Alex are in a very festive mood. Do I need to ask you why?
Yeah, me because I live in Thailand. For me, is my normal dress code. Alex, I hope he will come to visit me soon. So maybe he's try to make his dress code set up.
Well, to be honest, I was inspired by Andrea. I'm not sure if any of you has watched his podcast this morning, and he had a very bright shirt. So I thought, I'm celebrating 3 years of 3 days of sunshine in Sheffield. So
Okay. And they're pretty similar the show that we got today, isn't it?
Yeah. That's funny, guys. But Andrea, I think today, what is going to be the topic we need to start with is AC Milan against Naples. AC Milan made it to the semi-final of the Champions League. Igor, what were your feelings? Go ahead, Andrea. What were you saying?
No, I think that we didn't introduce Igor, so maybe we can just introduce him.
Oh, I was about to ask him to introduce him with the question.
All right, sorry, man. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so AC
Go ahead.
Milan Naples, like Igor, I would like to know what you were, your expectation for the game, how you felt after the game, and of course, if you can introduce yourself to our listeners. You have been part of our podcast now from the first episode, and you seem to bring a lot of good insights to the AC Milan world. So, off to you, Igor.
Thank you, Rocco. Thank you, Andrea. First of all, thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to join you guys for this episode. And my background is basically I became a Milan fan the day we trashed Real Madrid for nothing. I was 7 years old, and it created such an impression on me. I don't have any other teams. I'm not one of those people that are like, well, I like Borussia Dortmund and I like Valencia. No, no. It's only Milan. My impressions on the game, I was cautiously optimistic, which is a feeling I've had all throughout the season. Um, you don't know what to expect with this team. They're very they're very interisti in that way, because once you think you have them pegged, it's like they draw against Cremonese, and so you can't get too high or too low. Um, I felt before the knockout round with Napoli that the first game would be massive. People were like, "This game doesn't matter," but I thought it would set the tone for the rest of the series, and that's what happened. That's what ended up happening. 4-0, and they didn't know their foreheads from their elbows. Like every certainty they had, every confidence they had, it was gone. When that 4-0, it felt like Milan could score at will, and they were the ones making the adjustments. We played basically the same the three games. We had that 4-3-3 that turned into a 4-2-3-1, and we man-marked Lobotka, Zielinski, and Ndombele or Anguissa. We made nice double ups on Carasvelia. Less so with Politano. We made that sacrifice to give Leao more freedom on the left, and I think that's why they had the ball. Yes, 75%, but they didn't create that many chances. So, as I like to say, it doesn't matter who danced with the girl all night. It matters who took her home.
And
It's,
Igor, could you put the microphone a little bit closer to your mouth? Sometimes when you move, the audio goes away. There we go.
okay. Okay,
And
is this better?
yeah, that's perfect. And yeah, I agree with Andrea Valli, by the way. You guys look like Magnum PI. And Igor, Do you think though, many people you probably have seen it across like also American podcasts, everybody was telling like, oh, AC Milan played like a small team because they defended, while I think many people misunderstood AC Milan tactics. That actually AC Milan, I think they played like a big team, like a team that understands how to read a game and what to do during a game. I feel that Pioli knew that they were gonna play against two of the best strikers in the world, Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia, and you needed to play 10, 15 meters behind to be able to contain them and play as counterattack. I felt that was actually a very smart move. What was your feeling in that regard?
Well, my feeling is that what we have right now is a cultural bias towards possession, towards if you don't have the ball, then you're not dominating or you're playing like a small team. Listen, our defense was organized to the point of never being under such duress that you would say, "Oh, we're gonna lose this game." You can control a game without the ball. People need to understand that. And Milan played like the second biggest team in the world. This
Yeah.
this this seven, that makes us the second biggest team in the world. So we played like that and we won like that.
No, I agree with you, Andrea. What do you feel about Igor words? What would you like to add to it in regards to Milan Naples?
I think that was an excellent proof of supremacy by AC Milan against Naples in different aspects. First, the mentality. Once you hear talking about DNA, about AC Milan, yes, it's true. This is not a group that wants anything in Europe, but once you get inside Milanello, you got a lot of pictures that surround you. Once you go in Casa Milan, which is the house of AC Milan, you see inside the museum 7 Champions League, and you see all the history through that red and black shirt went around. So once you arrive to a match like that, you got an entire environment that got experience in the way to approach this kind of match. Completely in an opposite way, the environment of Naples did, because they approached the match without respect against AC Milan. Think that Pioli and all AC Milan did against Naples, because Naples is playing excellent football this year. They are first in the Italian league, and they are there because they play much, much better than all the other teams. They never stopped to play good, and they got so many results. So after the first match, Mr. Spalletti of Naples maybe still didn't understand the way to counterattack AC Milan. They lost 4-0 the first round in the season, and then they was not able to score even one goal in 3 matches, if not the one of Osimhen the last 3 minutes yesterday. And that proved that once Pioli prepared the match, they did looking at one team that is super strong, like Naples is, and they respect the power of Kvaratskhelia. They respect the power of Osimhen yesterday. And so the team put many positions in the pitch that with taking care of the strongest of Naples, and this was something that the coach of Naples didn't do. So they try to just attack without care which are our strongs, So they can't play let Leao going through like that, because at the end of the story you see the result. So I think that there are respect was the base of the victory with Naples.
No, that
If
makes
I may add one thing to what just Andrea said, is, besides the whole paraphernalia that you have at Casa Milan and at Milanello and everything, we have Paolo Maldini, we have Franco Baresi, we have people that have lived these situations. that they know what it takes to win a Champions League. Not just one, 5. So I think that has made a lot of difference, in my opinion. The fact that we have people that experience the stress, experience the difficulties, experienced different kind of adversaries on the field, and they were ready to share their experience with everyone else.
And here, Andrea actually agrees with Andrea. I don't know if he agrees with him because
Just
they're the
because
same
of the
name.
name.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's because of the name, I thought. But something that I think is a very important element here that many people are forgetting is that when you coach a team, when you manage a team, or when people like have got to play with certain players, you need to understand what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. You cannot go play against Naples attacking because you're probably going to lose the game. Let's be honest. You give space to Kvaratskhelia and Shimen, you're going to get goal after goal after goal. So when a team is composed of 11 players plus subs, they need to understand how to match up against a certain team. So, for example, we are about to play another EuroDerby. That's the third one after I believe it was a quarterfinal and the semifinal, Andrea, right? We played years back.
Correct.
And we do know that in that game, we are playing against a team where this year and last year, we don't match up very well with. Let's leave alone what happened in January. They didn't play against AC Milan. They played against Cremonese wearing an AC Milan shirt that month. But also in the derby, we won 3-2 in the Serie A. AC Milan suffered the style of play of Inter Milan. However, what I would like to bring and ask you guys' opinion on, and I will start this time from Andrea and get Alex and Igor, it will be the following. It is true, AC Milan suffers Inter Milan, but the AC Milan we have seen against Inter were two very different AC Milan than what we have today. First of all, we went back to play with a center defensive midfielder as a center attacking midfielder. We didn't play like that in the Serie A when we won 3-2. In addition to that, we have a team in a different mindset, in a growing physical condition, and with a completely different playing style compared to the past 6-7 months. So, Andrea, do you think that this derby is going to be something that, quote unquote, we have never seen before this year, even though we played Inter 3 times?
I guess that I can agree with you because now AC Milan is playing different than when he played the first one, even the one that we won, and the second one after the 3-0 in the Super Italian Cup. That's why the first part of the season, the tactical project was going in a specific direction. And that direction included Charles De Ketelare in the position of central offensive midfielder. In that case, we saw him the first half, and in the second half, Brahim Diaz get instead of him. In both of situations, the Inter scores exactly because that characteristic of player in that position make the balance of the team suffering. So we took something like 36 goal against in the season, mostly because of that. After the revolution of 3 defenders, the one immediately after January, we start playing strongly with 5 defenders, with 3 central back and two right and left back. But in that case, we lost a lot of our characteristic once we need to score. After that, over the national break, the national teams break, we starting from the beginning. And when I talk from the beginning, I mean the end of last season. Once we played with 3 midfielder, The last 11 games last year, we play with Krunic, Kessi, and Tonali, with Benacer that was the first option. After that, we won 4-0 with Naples, and then we won both of the quarterfinals with Naples, 1-0 each. We got problem with Empoli because we changed a lot of players, but we didn't have a penalty considered by the director. The same happened with Bologna. We should have two penalties against Bologna. Uh, but the game was played well. And that, I think, that means that now in Milanello, the job that they are doing is reflecting very good quality of working. So I think that in the next step, we are going to see a much more balanced team against Inter. That is a team that we need to respect if we want to go through, because now we are playing for the final.
No, it's a very. I agree with you, Andrea. Like, I feel the team has changed, and the job that we did is showing out right now. But Alex, would you like to build up on that? Like, do you feel that Inter Milan must be thinking about us the way they saw us a few months ago, or they think that just we got lucky and then they're gonna easily beat us? Because also the betting websites, they're telling AC Milan has the lowest chance of us all to even getting to the final and winning the final. So how do you think being the underdog is gonna favor us also against Inter Milan?
I mean, to be honest, what betting sites or betting companies do, they use their algorithm and they don't go out of that. So, the betting quotes today might be different from the betting quotes the day, the day just before the game, because there's still some time from today to then. If anything, I would bet some money on AC Milan today, because I have a feeling that the day before or the same day of the game, those quotes would drop. And honestly, I'm not that bothered about what Inter thinks or feels or they do today. They have their own journey, and we all know what the difficulties they have. With players that will leave Inter this season because their contracts are expiring, with players that don't know if they're going to play for Inter next season or they will be sold, to cover the commercial deficit. What I'm happy about is that we see a team in AC Milan that has reached a maturity that they didn't have. So if we look at what we have done this season, yes, we have had our rough moments, we have had our tough moments, but we've been building on that. We've been growing. We have managed to find, the so-called perfect squad for the qualities of the players that we have in the roster, and we can just build on that. So yes, I agree. The next games will be fundamental to build on this confidence.
Igor, what do you think about that? Like, this is gonna be like probably the most important derby of the last 10 years, right?
I would say the most important derby out of the last 18 years,
Fair enough.
because it's 2005, I think, the last derby, the derby that Dida got hit with a flare. I think
Yeah.
that was 2005. Feel free to correct me. I might be off a year or two, but I think this is the most important derby. And when it comes to comparing it with previous derbies this year, um, I think that we can't use any of the previous derbies as a frame of reference, because we first of all, in the first game we were playing, like Andrea said rightfully, that CDK was playing in that central attacking midfielder position, which we saw with Napoli has certain responsibilities within a Pioli's system, and that's why Brahim Diaz or CDK or whoever plays in that system suffers offensively. Their offensive output is lessened because of their responsibilities defensively. The second set of derbies, the 3-0 in Saudi Arabia and the 1-0, guys, we were missing Manyan. And I played the position. Unfortunately, I was vertically challenged. I was 5'7", but I know what it takes for goal and what a goalkeeper can do for a defense, and what Manyan is doing for that defense. Also, we kind of switched and we sold our soul to the devil, like Andrea said, when we switched to that three-man backfield. But we started seeing something, especially in the midfield, as to how we can contain them going forward. And which is, I think, it's not going to be exactly the same because Inter plays a different style. They play with two men up front, and Napoli plays with Osimhen as the target man. So what they were doing tactically, Kiayer and Tomori, which was beautiful, by the way, um, we're not going to be able to replicate that against Inter. Like Pioli has to come up with something new to stop either Lukaku, Lautaro, or Seco, and even Correa. Uh, but it's going to be that's why I don't think that I'm going to be using any of we can use some of it, but I don't think I think we're going to see something new and fresh, and it's exciting, quite frankly.
No, I agree. Like Andrea, I think that if you look at the derby, right, and the way Inter is playing right now, we do not need to get to not underestimate one very important factor of this Inter Milan team, which is they are not having a good time right now. Inter Milan might have won against Benfica, but Benfica was not the same Benfica that we saw in the qualifying rounds. They lost Enzo Fernandez. They had 4 major injuries in the starting lineup. It's like playing against Naples when they're missing Di Lorenzo, Osimhen, Anguissa, Kim, and Kvaratskhelia, right? So what we have at Inter tied up the match 3-3. They showed that they were not even mentally there. So we also need to understand that while on one hand side, Inter Milan has played against AC Milan during our worst time of probably AC Milan history. That January, I don't think we ever did that bad. Inter Milan is not approaching that game with the same preparation that we have. And let's be clear, that's not something you can fix in a month, because to get in the shape AC Milan is at, you need to work hard on your muscles. That means your performance is going to go down. If they do the preparation now, they're going to be good in July to play a game. So that's another very important factor. And Inter Milan has got, like AC Milan, to play even harder to get to the next Champions League. So these are going to be external variants that eventually will determine and reshape the potential outcome of this game. Andrea, do you have the same feelings when it comes to approaching the game and how the teams are going to get physically and mentally to that game? Mentioning that Skriniar is not going to be part of the game. He just had the surgery. His season is over, and his career at Inter Milan is officially over.
Yeah, this is true. The point is that normally a derby in Milan is always, is often a match apart. It's something that you cannot easily put inside a context that can reflect the path of Champions League of the league. Because once you go into that stadium, there is the full city that is freezing, that is getting warm, that is going up and down for all the times that we will share from now to the first match. So it's difficult to put things like this in a context with a real reflection in the reality. But what you said was true. Especially looking at AC Milan, we can certainly say that same all the seasons before is the first time of the year that we can see something similar with the seasons before. So normally we get used to see the Pioli's team starting very well, but this is something that didn't happen this year, and but we start to see that the team going to end the season in the same way they did the seasons before. So maybe the work that they did in Dubai was not something that give you the money at the beginning. January we pay maybe the worst condition of the last 5 years, not even with the mentality, but even with the physical. And now I think that we can getting some result from that job. And
No, Andrea, what I was saying is that something I would like you to also comment on, since you're making that discussion, is about Ancelotti's Milan. I don't know if you remember that, but I was young at the time. I was in my early 20s, like 18, 19. And I remember Ancelotti's Milan had a season in which they started decent, then they decreased performance a little bit, but starting March, they started going uphill. And I feel when Maldini said this team, we are gonna work on being a team that has an European mentality, it didn't mean we are gonna win the Champions League, but it meant we are gonna have a team that is gonna follow that pattern. We want to be at our best when it matters for the European competition. Do you kind of see the same mentality at Trent and Maldini being the link that connects the two mentalities?
uh, I just say one thing about it, and I try to attach part of the thinking that Alex explained before. Once Alex mentioned Maldini, I get used to remember the words of the director of the technical area, the sport area, at the end of the match with Lazio last year, once where we won 1-2 with the goal of Tonali in the last minutes. At the end of that match, Paolo Maldini went in front of television and said, "We will got pressure, but we will hold it." And that means that he's the perfect man, that the better one that we can have in situations that you need to win, because he know the way to do that. It was more hard for him to manage difficulties, because actually in his career he didn't have much, but he get used to win, and he know the way. And another step that helps this team for sure, that helped this team for sure, was to go through the pressure that we had in Naples and all the days between the first and the second quarter final. That was for sure something that helped to improve the character of the team, and for sure Maldini is the best one that we can have in situations like that.
Alex, Igor, what's your take on this?
Well, Igor is the guest, so I'll let him go first.
Thank you, Alex. Uh, Absolutely. It's it. Sometimes you have to go through some rough patches to see what the metal is of this team. And January was statistically the worst month in Milan history. I
Igor,
looked it up.
the microphone, please.
I looked it up. I uh, I, I I I couldn't believe how many goals we were allowing and the amount of losses that we had. We've never had a month like that. And it took some faith. I thought they were going to fire Pioli after the Sassuolo game. It didn't happen. Uh, I don't know. There's conflicting reports, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Pioli's the coach now, and I thought that one of the most important things about, especially the end of the season, and it's gonna sound counterintuitive, but hang with me. I think one of the most important things is getting the bench players involved in the season, and because what we saw with with Napoli is basically Spalletti almost never used his bench, and they had two injuries at that specific moment with Mario Rui and Politano, and Pioli used 10 substitutes and was heavily criticized for it. But the starters were all fresh and they were all able to do the job that was needed to to continue on in the Champions League. So sometimes we find ourselves criticizing our coach, but we have to give him props for that. And he basically traded 2 points in the Serie A for 20 to 30 million euro. So we're gonna have to keep using our bench, and that's why I hope we see 4 to 5 bench players against Lecce to continue that work, because I think that players are only gonna get better if they continue to play regularly. We're talking Povega, we're talking uh, Salmakers, Cho, Kalulu, even CDK. So that's that's part of maintaining the level of play, especially for the Champions League game.
And Igor, on the chat, they all I
Yes.
agree
Just
with.
say bye to people that come to visit us.
Yeah, and then they all like, we would like to greet Mattia, Herbert, and Andrea are also having conversation about a Milan bench. Specifically, to summarize the conversation, they are waiting for our bench to start producing some goals, some results, and so Andrea calls himself a dreamer because he's wishing for Origi maybe to score a goal. So they agreed on the fact that until the last game, we can still hope for some of our benches here to score a goal. So we are having a conversation in the conversation, guys, today. And which kind of, I would like to take advantage of this topic to pass it on to Alex to see if you have any consideration in regards to the topic we just covered before we can talk about something else related to the Champions League money. We all like money, so we want to make sure we cover that later.
No, because I think, and it's not just Champions League money, because I think it goes beyond that. There is an article that I suggest every one of you reads. Is written by Felice Raimondo. He is one of the management board of Associazione Milanisti 1899, which is the small shareholders club related to AC Milan. And he published today a very thorough article on the financial situation of Milan, on the impact that our successful journey in the Champions League so far has been, and how it is instrumental for us to kind of yes, be happy about the Champions League earnings, but also find alternatives to it, and find ways that will self-finance us. So through sponsors, through having a stadium of our own, through pushing for more TV rights across the Italian Serie A, which obviously it cannot be just us. It has to be a joint effort from every other team in the Serie A. However, I think if you guys will go and read the article, you will see some very interesting figures. And the reason we wanted to talk about this is because it's perhaps something that is less known in the US in terms of how financials have an impact on how much you can spend as a team, on the quality of player that you can buy, and also on the wages that you can pay to players. We don't have a salary cap in football in Europe. The TV rights that the Premier League gets are almost 4 times what the Serie A gets all overall, and that has a huge impact. So plus you have the UEFA fair play rules, so those have an impact as well in terms of you earn so much, you can spend so much. So yes, please have a read on that. But what I can what I can share with you is that we have had doubled the income from the stadium earnings just by reaching the semifinals in the Champions League, and that's huge. Imagine if those earnings were all ours.
Yeah,
Imagine if we had a stadium of our own.
yeah, that would be very nice, wouldn't it? And yeah, like, I mean, having reached the semifinals is important, and talking about money is important, but also our listeners are important. So, Andrea, would you like to read some of the comments we are receiving?
No, because I say thanks everyone, starting from Herbert, that we say hi to him before. He say he's commenting, saying bye to Igor, welcoming him, and Andrea said that injuries both sides will be a key. We have 4 matches in front of us, then 5. It's time for our bench to step up and give us something. This one will be the next topic, because after that we will talk about
Yeah,
how we will
Herbert is
manage.
making fun of me and my decision to have Origi as a good player until the end of the season. I don't know if you read the comment, but he's asking me to give up on Origi.
I'm going to read all of them now. The next thing that say Herbert was that history repeats itself 20 years later. Let's hope for the same result. Andrea Valli, we're still waiting for that to happen, and the season is almost over. Forza Milan by Animaniac 89 by Animaniac. Nice to meet you.
May I suggest that Herbert and Andrea Valli exchange numbers?
No. We will do much better. Now I will write Andrea, because I personally know him. I chat with him by email, so I will invite him next if he would be happy to share an episode with us, and Herbert as well, if he'll be if he would like.
No. I mean, I
you.
was trying to be soft. I said exchange numbers. I didn't say get a room. You know what I mean?
No, it's nice that they come here and share with us, because they always say things interesting that is nice to share with them.
Yeah, but they seem in love with each other.
So I'm Andrea, nothing wrong with that, and this is what Rocco was saying before. You will give up on Origi is useful for us, but never forget what Origi is good to do in semifinals and finals of Champions League. So yes, it's true. The season of Origi at the moment is terrible, but we need to use and everything we have for the next 2
And by
matches.
the way, it was Origi's birthday on the day of Naples Milan. So happy birthday to
True.
Diego.
And here, Andrea asks, do you know when the new fair play, financial fair play will start? I can answer you by now, and it will start next year, since when, starting from when the how do you say, the teams cannot pay the. Help me, please, with English, Alex and Rocco. The total of
income and expenditure on salaries and player trading is going to be a gradual thing. So next year is going to be 90%. The following year is going to be 80%, and then it will stabilize after the third year at 70%.
And Andrea, I would like to clarify here that the 70% is calculated on the gross income of a team, right? So
yes.
It is
not only include the gross salary and how do you say ammortamenti?
No, I would say we're getting there. The 70% is calculated on the gross income of the team. then the moment you can spend 70% of that for transfer markets, amortizations, and salaries for the team. Now, the very important thing that many people might underestimate is the reason as to why Cardinale is putting so much focus on the Champions League and the stadium. The stadium will bring 100 million per year additional revenue. That means 70 million more for transfer market, amortizations, and salaries. The Champions League is so far, I believe, has brought close to 80 million to AC Milan, right? Give or take, if I remember the numbers correctly. That means
85.
85, perfect. It means this next year is 90% we can use of that we by staying in the financial fair play. So the Champions League money plays a huge role into how a team can operate in the market if they want to be within the financial fair play. So I just wanted to clarify, because many of us that are not in Italy, they might not get flooded with articles explaining what that actually means, right?
No, but and you know, this was the huge point that Felice Raimondo was making, is that in this moment for us, qualifying in the Champions League, it's the milk bottle.
Yeah.
So you know, we need to make as less important that milk bottle as possible, and have, you know, other ways of consuming food.
And Igor, what do you think about this whole financial discussion, right? Because I believe, and correct me guys if I'm wrong, that there are two current of thoughts, right? One current of thought is, with the team we have, we're going to qualify to the next Champions League. We need to focus on making more money by trying to get to the final in the Champions League. Some other people are like, yeah, you're going to make money this year, but if you don't qualify next year. So there has been a lot of, I would say, two current of thoughts within AC Milan supporters, right? What's your view on the money the Champions League is bringing to AC Milan, and how would you see yourself? How do you see AC Milan next year, considering what's going on this year?
Well, it's hard right now because personally, you know, once you get to a certain age, you start to think more and more about the future and about sustainability, because it's really nice and it's really fun to be in the Champions League semifinal right now. But I don't want to be listening to next year. So what I think is that we have put together a squad that, if everything had gone according to plan, um, we would be top four. I think we would be second or third, but so many wheels have fallen off the truck that right now we can't afford ourselves the luxury of just saying, well, let's just go for the Champions League. So that's why, because I think, listen, I land at it's so strange, but I land at, if we weren't playing Inter, I would be it.
Igor, your audio cut off completely. Your audio completely cut off. Now it's there.
I don't know why. Uh, I don't know where you guys lost me. But
What you said, if we didn't play Inter, and then you cut off.
yeah, if we were not playing Inter, if we were playing Benfica, I would be okay if we were kicked out of the Champions League.
Fair enough.
It would, but honestly, playing Inter, we painted ourselves into a corner with Mañan's injury, with all of, because we like to criticize CDK, we like to criticize Origi, we like to criticize the new players, but none of the new players have played well. Like, none of the new players have. We have the same starting 11 this year as last year, and our substitutes are Salmakers, Messias, Krunic, the same guys we had. Shout out to my boy Loam. Um, the same guys that we had last year, and whenever we play some of the new players, it's basically, so. I think that I land at sustainability, because I think Redbird and Cardinale are here are in Milan to build a new stadium and then sell. That's kind of my theory. That's but that's a theory. Okay, They're here to make a real estate play. They want to build the stadium. They bought the team, and now they're going to sell it at a much higher price with a stadium in place, with all of their finances in check. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think Redbird cares too much about sport glory or whatever. That's my opinion. It's a bit of a theory I have.
Andrea, you have a little bit more insights to that, right?
Sorry.
I was saying in regards to Redbird and their like, because they basically only own sports team. You have a little bit more insights in regards to what it could be their plan.
Oh yes, we talk often about that, and I understand the thinking of Igor. Is Igor correct? Igor or Igor?
However, there's no set.
You're Venezuelan, so it's probably Igor, right?
Yeah, but I mean, my father was Italian, so
Okay,
it's
okay,
fine.
Igor, okay, Igor. Because in Italian I say Igor, in American Igor. So I understand what Igor say, and I think that it can be a good point what he said, but the things that I knew because I got the husband of my sister that works with Cardinale, and he get used to talk with him often, and he explained me something about the views that Cardinale have now about AC Milan, and what I understand, because of course he cannot go into the many details, but what I understand is that they have a much longer view about AC Milan, because over the stadium there are a lot of interconnections that regard the network of all the media agencies that are connected with him. And I think that is a way to create economy and to create business through the TV rights. I think that maybe it can get involved into the TV rights competition in the next years. Once the Italy Serie A, we will start to show the first effect of the rebuild that now we are needing. So my thinking is that it will be a bit longer. The step that AC Milan need, that Red Bull need, together with the rebuilding of AC Milan, will be the rebuilding of the league as well. And to do that, now we need to go over a few steps. First, the financial situation of Inter, and the second one, the legal situation of Juventus, which are the two most important things together with AC Milan in the Serie A. So this is the first big step that we need to do. Over that, Italy needs structures, and for structures, I mean stadiums. And once we got both of that, we can start to create a product that is more easy to sell even outside of Italy. So I think that through the path we will go inside these steps that now the AC Milan and Serie A needs. And that's why my opinion is I think that Cardinale will go a little bit over that. I remember that New York Yankees got 50% of the value, which is 3 billion, with all the structures of the cities, structures surrounding the stadiums of them. So I think that this will be an opportunity not to only to create a new building where AC Milan can play, but even many things that surround it can create something like an area which can be an area of supporter, but even a business area when you can help a country to create, economy, give works to people. There are many young guys that they have difficulty even to work, and it's incredible and a shame now that the government doesn't help something that can help to grow the economy and give jobs to people. So I think that Cardinale will take a little bit longer over the stadium, because I think that he will want to enjoy, and to do that he need to show an AC Milan that is strong to compete even in the Champions League.
And Andreas, before we continue, just wanted to mention that We have an English episode every Friday, usually at 9 a.m. Eastern time, New York time, Miami time, where you guys want to call it. And today's Thursday simply because we had a conflict of schedule with an episode we are doing in Italian tomorrow. And we are actually working on podcasts in English and even more content coming up. We're just organizing ourselves to make it happen for you guys. So just so you guys know, that's what's coming up here. Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I was saying like if you guys also want to know more about when things are coming up, just you can follow us on YouTube or Twitter, and we reply right away if you guys have any questions or you want to know more about the content we're putting out there. That's all. Go ahead,
I
Alex.
just want to say, Herbert, that will be a pleasure. I will contact him. If you, Herbert, follow me on Twitter or you send
I
an
believe he
email.
doesn't have Twitter because he wanted to get in touch with Milan Club
Okay,
Dublin.
so I write down on the chat an email where we can write me.
Perfect. And Alex, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to complete something that Andrea just said from my point of view, and I'm saying this with all the due respect, but another factor that the Italian Serie A, in my opinion, needs to get better at, it's media, because when you see the BBC lining up Lineker and Ian Wright, when you see CBS lining up Carragher, Thierry Henry, and they are so good. They've obviously trained for being journalists, for presenting events. And what do you see on Italian TV? You see the same old journalists from 50 years ago that don't have a clue, that they only say opinions. There's no technical, there's no tactical comment, there's nothing. This is another aspect that Serie A needs to sort themselves out. Because honestly, in 2023, in this day and age, there's no excuse.
No, I agree, Alex. And I mean, this is a topic we could literally go on for hours and hours. And hopefully, the AC Milan is moving in the right direction. But I think they really definitely are. But there is an even more pressing matter, which we usually define to as 3 points. Like those 3 points that we seem not to want to make recently. And now that the Champions League is over, we have Lecce. It's a match that personally for me, I really much feel a lot because I'm from Lecce, but I'm going to make a couple of calls and see if they can move away and give us the 3 points, right? But Lecce is going to be a match that is potentially going to come at the perfect time because we have Lecce, then I believe we have Roma and Cremonese, right, Andrea? I think those are the 3 games we have coming up. And with that said, though, then now it's the time we start making points because we want to get to the derby and then to Lazio after the derby, if my memory is not giving up on me, and then to the next derby in a position where we can afford again to do turnover, to take some risks to prioritize the Champions League semifinal. Igor, I would like to start with you. What are your feelings for the game against Lecce? Would you like to see some turnover? Would you play with the same 11 that started in the Champions League? What's your overall standpoint on that?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Andrea, for that. What you said about Jerry, that was wonderful. I love getting that kind of information.
You're welcome,
I just
man.
I cannot express how I love getting that kind of insight, and I didn't want it to go unnoticed. The Going back to Rocco's question, it's funny because my wife's last name is Rocco, and
The
going back
microphone.
going back to
Perfect.
Rocco's question, the Lecce game is going to be it's going to be fundamental in so many ways because I think that we do need to use four to five bench players. Not because I want to see them, but because I think Brahim Diaz left the game with a bit of a knock on one of his abductors. Uh, we have to keep Giroud fresh. And what Giroud did, those 70 minutes he played, like the untrained eye will say, well, he missed the penalty and he missed a sitter against Meret. And I'm talking about the fact that he would go and mark Lobotka and would allow Benacer to go back, be the extra man, and then facilitate the double ups on Carlos Velia. To do that at 36, you know what? Miss two penalties. I don't care. Like that kind of reinforcement in the midfield, very few forwards can give it to you. So we have to keep him fresh. He's going to be fundamental in the two matches against Inter. So unfortunately, we have to see Oregi, or we because Revic, he doesn't look like a professional footballer anymore. I would even maybe even try and play CDK as a false nine. Try something with that kid. Let's let's try to light a fire under him. He cost 32 million plus bonuses. So uh, I would like to see Povega. I would like to see Franks. Baloture had an awful first 30 seconds of the game, but then he played a really decent game within his limits. You're not gonna get Teo.
I agree, man.
You're not gonna get Teo, but you need 90 minutes of somebody else because you can't play Teo every single week. So that's what I hope to see. I want to see Chow. Chow has been impressive. Kalulu, I want to see him get back. Um, and I want to see, I think I already said Branks, but of course, Salma Kers and everybody else. And I would like to see maybe one half of Tonali and then the other half of Benacer. I would like to see some starters to balance it out. I want to see Leao start because he makes the difference. He makes all the difference. And he's 22, 23 years old. And he was fine. So
And
give him 60 minutes and
I
then,
agree. I agree with you, Igor.
Igor,
Like,
I don't want to disagree with you in terms of I agree the first 30 seconds of Baloture weren't great. However, on the goal, he was dragged on the floor by the opponent.
yeah,
If
it
you
hugged
go
him.
and, if you go and rewatch, he was dragged on the floor.
right. But Alex, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Italian referees, and I'm sure you know this. In order to get that foul called, your name can't be Baloture. Like Di Lorenzo is going to get
No,
that
no,
foul
that's
called, right? No, but you have to be aware of it. As a player, you have to know, and your coach has to tell you, hey, you can't go down, like, because yes, he was dragged, but he did kind of make a meal out of it, like, oh, like a little ballerina move, and the referee was like, I'm not gonna call that on you, but he might
yeah.
have called it on other defenders, and you have to be aware of that. He had a great game, and yes, he should have gotten that foul called, but
And
this is something.
yeah, something that I actually wanted to ask Alex once he comes back, but I'm gonna ask it to you guys, is that I feel that what really left me with a very good feeling in my body is that Pobega, I feel that the way he played against Bologna is a player that not only he can substitute potentially Tonali or Benacer, but he offers us a completely different way to interpret their role. Because Pobega might lack in maybe building the play, but he can shoot, he can go with the header. He's very dangerous in the last the last quarter of the pitch. So I kind of feel that he could be the kind of player that can sub in a potential semi-final, but it can be dangerous at the same time. I don't know, Andrea, do you think Pobega could be for AC Milan actually also a weapon to solve certain complicated matches? Because the guy is involving, he scored 2 or 3 goals this year and he played 5 matches. The guy is potentially somebody can in a season can score 8-9 goals.
I think that at the moment we need the mostly of the players ready because we will need it. Once you play every 3 days and you got five substitutions, you need to have. And actually, in the Champions League, is the only midfielder in the list. So we need to have him ready. He gave us good feedback with Empoli and Bologna. In Empoli, he played in the position that now we are getting used to see Krunic, and in Bologna, he played a little bit more ahead. He played a little bit more box to box instead, because Bologna didn't produce a lot of attacking actions. And for sure, he grew up during the season. At the beginning, he was not. It didn't show that to be ready to play there, because even the Pioli's game is extremely complicated. And once you play like that, now we can play like this because we got Benacer like central attacking midfielder, because he know that once we haven't got the ball, he know where to go and what to do. Having the Ketelare and Brahim Diaz, which they are good for something, but not to do that. They haven't got the characteristic. So like this, the other two midfielder need to cover much more meters, and for them it becomes more difficult. This is one of the reasons why we see many mistakes by them, by Tomori, by Tonali, by Kalulu, and they did a lot of mistakes during the season. Having back the balance of the team, the individuals come out. So we can see Pobega play better now with a better balance of the team. And even Calabria. We saw the disaster that Calabria did in January, you see. Now that the team play helping each other with Krunic, that did a magical. It took the Oscar like a not, how do you say, not non-protagonista?
And
No.
not the main character, a star.
Secondary character,
Yes, yes.
supporting character.
Yeah, it was excellent. I went to see in the specific situation. I think he saved at least 6 or 7 dangerous spots. There was 6 or 7 dangerous situations that no one cared about it, because Krunic passed like nothing happened and moved the ball away. And he helped many potential mistakes by the defenders. And if not, after the team, we are here talking about the mistake of Tomori, the mistake of Calabria, or something like that. Krunic now is precious, and with his physical attitude and with his physical body, Pobega, I think that if he's learning like that, he can grow up even in that direction, and he can give an help to the team.
And Andrea, I would like to build up Alex's intervention. I know Alex is listening, is probably quickly with the video out, by reading 3 comments from our listeners and then asking Alex to comment on those, because it's literally tying up what we were just discussing. The first comment was from Loam. It says, for the next season, we need to improve the level of the substitute players. It's basically talking about team depth. But on the same side, we were just talking about how the right asset as our team showed that depth, right? We saw it against Bologna. Then Herbert says, we will take a real step forward as a team once the substitutes will be able to win games against Empoli, Lecce, and other smaller teams. And then Andrea, which mentioned that Pobega could become a modern Massimo Ambrosini. These are all messages that are right one within each other, right? Maybe it's not going to be exactly Ambrosini, it will be the same user we had for Ambrosini. Ambrosini rarely was a starter for AC Milan, but a very determining player for the team. But I wanted to know, and Alex, feel free to jump in as soon as you are ready. But in the meantime, we can start with Igor and Andrea. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, guys. I just had a couple of phone calls.
No worries. I just know that every now and then you come in and out. But Alex, basically, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel looking at these comments here, right? Is AC Milan at the point where we still need a lot of changes in the roster to be able to have team depth? Or do you think now that we found the balance, which basically is what we did last year in the last 10 games, that we have team depth. We just need to fine tune the team, right? With a striker, maybe a right winger. What's your feeling on that?
Well, I think first of all, there will be two main factors, which are from a team point of view, is the renewal of the contract of Leao, and from a budget or finances point of view, is going to be, you know, qualifying for the next Champions League. Because yes, you know, we have made a lot of money in this season. However, you know, having the extra 50 million next year is going to have an impact. So I think based on those two factors, will next year's team be built. What I can say without any shadow of a doubt is that we need a striker. We need someone to be put next to Giroud. To, you know, in my opinion, we need someone that's ready. You know, that you buy him today, and tomorrow he's ready to play, regardless. So I don't think unless we adapt Charles de Ketelaere as a, you know, as a striker, as a first forward, but otherwise we need someone that's ready, and in my opinion, that's regardless of anything else. Then we need to understand how we're going to play for the next season, and that's why I've mentioned the contract of Leao, and you know, how what sort of tactics we're going to use, which sort of team are we going to put on. But if we are going to continue with this kind of tactical format that we have on the pitch right now, we either decide to give minutes to Ranch or Adli, or both, or in my opinion, we should have, you know, another one that's oven ready midfielder. So, you know, a Milinkovic Savic.
Igor is a contract ready, he said. From his face, he was ready to sign Milinkovic Savic as soon as he said the name.
Domani.
Domani, there you go. That's exact. Andrea said yesterday. So you guys are in agreement. But I don't know, guys, if you want to make a few last considerations, Igor, but otherwise we are going to wrap it up soon. Today's topics were so interested. We did more time than we usually do, but that means people are liking what we're talking about. Igor, do you have any last things you would like to share? And if not, let us know.
Really, really quick. First of all, Alex, feel free to disagree with me as much as you want. I love it. I love the conversation, the banter. It's the best. And second, and more importantly, thank you for the invitation, Andrea. I had a wonderful time. Anytime you guys want to have me over, I would love to join you. Uh, English. My Italian is a little bit limited, and I don't feel that certain. I'm not ready. Like Adli, I'm not ready.
Even me, sorry for interrupt you, Igor, but even me, my English need to improve a lot. I'm happy because I have Alex and Rocco that support me. They say, "Oh, come on, go. Even if you do mistake, I didn't want to come." My English is not perfect at all, and I say sorry for the one that are mother language that we will listen to me. I need to improve, but so.
It's great. It's great, Andreas. Yeah.
No, and Igor, we would love to have you back for sure. You know, we're going to organize other episodes. I would like to take the chance to let everybody know that we will shortly launch our YouTube channel that is only for English. So we help you guys navigate the Italian content. We're just going to have the English content there. We're just finishing up the last things. Keep in mind to follow us on Twitter. You can read it under my name at BC INTL with the underscore. We post a lot there, and we will keep you posted on all the things that we are going to do time over time. But in addition to that, if any of you ever want to join us, you can just write us. This is a friendly conversation. And Igor, I hope you will join us soon again, because we really enjoyed your company. Andrea, Alex, any last words?
Yes,
Speak
just
out.
one thing, that's just last thing, and then we're going to close. Now, at the moment, we just have the profile on Twitter. We are going to open the one on Facebook and Instagram, just to create more connection and make the network wider. So, like this, everyone that would like to need to have the follow up about the episode, especially the Banda Casciavit international channel. Now, mostly of the people is going to see the episode, is looking at the episode in the Italian version of Banda Casciavit. And one day, I agree with Alex and Rocco that we are going to plan why we are calling us Banda Casciavit and what Casciavit exactly means. And then it will be the part of the history of AC Milan support. I hope that people that don't live in Italy will appreciate to know something about the history of AC Milan.
And Andrea, for those that are interested, the shirt is not for sale. Like, I mean, we do not have an e-commerce for Alex and Andrea's shirt. That's a limited edition for Thailand and the UK, guys. If I remember, next time I'm gonna bring my own. I have one with some flowers here, guys.
But let's not forget about Spotify and Spreaker as well, because we're on there too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're gonna have podcasts coming up very soon in English. They're gonna be
Today we recorded the first episode in the Banda Casciavit International. So it's the first time that we record in the English version, because we started to mix up first the Italian version with the English one, but we would like to go focus in both of directions.
And guys, in wrapping up, Andrea, thank you so much for your comment. Herbert, thank you so much for always joining us. I'm a little bit worried by the black and white hearts, but I would say that's a typo. Big greetings from Johnny as well. Johnny for friends. Hi, Johnny. And
Hi, Johnny.
Loam would like to greet us, and he has a clear
Yeah,
idea
he's
what
right.
he wants to do.
He's right.
And then Herbert wants us to go worldwide. Thank you so much. Thank you, Igor. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Andrea. And Forza Milan.
Forza Milan sempre.
Forza Milan.
Bye, Igor. Thanks for coming.